All right, we're back with another review. This time we got Backrooms, which is based on some YouTube shorts made by Kane Parsons. And I don't think he came up with the original idea for the Backrooms itself. I think it just started off as like maybe like an internet meme or like a creepypasta or something like that. Now they've done a whole feature film on it, made by A24. Kane Parsons directing it. He's 19 years old, and I think I saw that this movie it costs like 10 million. I think is estimated, and I think it's projecting to make like 50 to 60. So I think he'll be the youngest director to have a number one movie at the box office, which is crazy. Also, I didn't know, but it's produced by Sean Levy, James Wan, and Osgood Perkins. I saw that during the credits, and I was like, there were a lot of names attached to this movie, and that's probably why it was a lot better than it had really any right to be. And I mean, you've got Chiwetel Ejiofor. He's the main character. He plays Clark. Um, and Renate Reinsve as Mary. Pretty sure I just butchered her name. The two main characters. There are a couple other characters, but they don't have much screen time. You know, they kind of show up and they're kind of gone pretty quickly. So you mainly focus on them two. And Clark, Chiwetel Ejiofor, he runs a furniture store, and they're like barely staying afloat. And it's a pretty creepy furniture store. You know, there's like a bottom level with more furniture, and it kind of just looks like the back rooms, even though they're not even in there yet. And so I'm like, I don't blame people for not shopping there because it's creepy, and it gives me the vibes of like when you go to church, and instead of like the main hallway, you go to like the back hallways where like the classrooms and stuff are. It feels like walking down there. It just gets creepy vibes. And Clark, he lives in the furniture store because his wife kicked him out, and you find out more about that later, obviously. He like has this electrician dude coming by to like figure out why the bills are so high because every night, he turns all the lights off. He's barely staying afloat, so he's doing his best to try to minimize as much as he can. Upon investigating, that's when he finds the back rooms. And so a lot of the movie, at least the first half, is just him kind of walking back there, investigating, figuring out like where it goes, mapping it out. And Mary, played by Renate Reinsve, is his therapist. And you get a few scenes with that. Eventually, she ends up in the back rooms as you see in the trailer. I won't really explain like why. I never saw Kane Parsons' original short films for the back rooms. I saw like a bunch of like photos and stuff. Like I knew what it was. I just never actually went in depth with it. So I kind of went in pretty much blind. The movie does do a good job of building the suspense. I know in the other backroom short films they relies more on like the monsters and stuff like that. In this movie, they do have those kinds of things, but it's more towards the end, and it's not really like a big point of the movie. Yeah, the first half is mostly just Clark wandering through the back rooms, hearing some noises, running into some like shadows and stuff like that. Kind of just building up the world of the back rooms, even though there's nothing really going on other than just like the creepy imagery. I enjoyed that because it doesn't rely on jump scares, which I feel like a lot of movies are getting away from that. And I like that because jump scares are just cheap. And like you can have some jump scares, but I feel like a lot of movies just rely on them and it just becomes cheap. It just feels like a cop out for getting scares. I think you'll hear a lot is that the script really isn't the best, but again, it's fine for what the movie is. It's not really going for anything that deep. There are some themes with the main characters that can kind of hit their points, but for the most part, it's like, first time director, Kane Parsons, he wrote it with another guy. It's not the worst script by any means. It's good enough to make the movie work, and a lot of the heavy lifting is from the main two characters, obviously, because they're established actors, award nominated actors. So, and again, like in my I Love Boosters review, I was talking about the practicality of the effects and stuff they use in the sets. And I imagine most of the budget for this movie was just building the sets because it was all practical. And I think I heard that, yeah, they built just a whole warehouse filled with like backrooms rooms, so which makes it feel more lived in. And even kind of like some of like the creatures, like the humanoids or whatever you run into, they're all practical for the most part. So that helps the world feel more lived in, or at least adds to the creep factor. By the end of the movie, I was kind of feeling underwhelmed, but afterwards I walked home. It was like 2 a.m. and I was kind of thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, that movie is actually a lot better than I had originally thought. It was creepy. It didn't go too crazy with the concept, which is nice. The ending, they kind of are like setting up a sequel, obviously, and it's probably gonna happen considering the movie is gonna make like 5, 6 times its budget already opening weekend. Like Obsession made more money its second weekend than the first, so I feel like Backrooms could maybe kind of do the same thing. You know, once people actually see it, they'll be talking about it, and then more people will see it next weekend, and then it'll just be another horror hit. There were also some like morons on Twitter who were like, "Oh, Kane Parsons didn't actually direct the movie. He had a ghost director because studios are too scared to let a kid that young work, like direct this movie, and they're, it's like damage control for the amount of money they're spending." And like it's just like that's clearly not true. There was like one guy who like was saying all this stuff, and people were like, "So what's your source?" And he was like, "Trust me, I'm industry." And it's like, I'm sure you are, dude. You fucking, so you're just butthurt that you have to pay Elon Musk $10 a month to get a blue check mark to feel like you've accomplished anything in life, while this 19-year-old is going to direct a #1 movie at the box office, and you're just sitting there sulking about it. Instead of trying to do something, creative and that actually adds to, society and whatnot, you're just trying to put him down because, again, you're probably just jealous, or like people were comparing it to like my dad works at Nintendo, which it definitely gives those vibes. He's like, source, trust me, bro. And it's just, it's just annoying. Again, that's Twitter. It's a hellscape now. That's all it is. It's just people whining and crying and bitching all the time. Other than that, I really enjoyed it. I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. I feel like on rewatches it might go up because again, I saw it at a pretty late screening, so it was kind of late at night. I was a little tired. Other than that, yeah, I think it's worth seeing in the theater, especially seeing the scope of the sets they built. Without spoiling anything, you kind of get vibes of like Grave Encounters if you've seen that movie. Just the environment they're in. Like in Grave Encounters, they go into this mental asylum to hunt ghosts. Eventually, they find out they're trapped. They try going out the front door they came in and just leads to more hallways. So it's kind of got that vibe. Even though in the back rooms, if you know where you're going, you can get out, but it's easy to get lost. So I was kind of getting those vibes. There's vibes of like Jordan Peele's Us. I won't say why, but once you watch it, you'll understand what I'm saying. Yeah, overall, it's been a good month for horror. I didn't see that Passenger movie because I heard it was dog water, and I kind of could tell from the trailer, at least for me, it just looked like it was going to be a jump scare fest, and I think that's what people were saying. But between Obsession and this, I haven't seen Hokum. I heard it's really good, so I need to see that, but it's been a good month for horror. Yeah, let me know down below. Did you see Backrooms? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Hit the like button, subscribe. Peace.